I don't see anything. There's nothing on screen. Oh, they're going to be watching. They're going to be watching me. I thought. Okay, so we're recording right now. Okay. Can we just cut then? All right, this is cut. Hello, Denver event community. It's Kevin White from XPL, the International President of ISES, otherwise known as the International Special Events Society. I'm glad you're all here. Watching movies is one of my favorite things to do. Making movies is something that I love to do. So I've made a little clip for you here. Probably can't guarantee that it's going to be a best picture, but can probably guarantee it'll give you some good insight onto where the society, the International Special Events Society, is going this year and in the next few years. Some of the goals, ideas, visions that we have. When everybody's on the same page, we all have a better idea of what we should be doing. And so our goal here is to do that tonight. So grab your Twizzlers, grab your Cokes, grab your popcorn, sit back, relax, and enjoy the next few minutes of where ISES is going 2014 and beyond. So you're watching and you're wondering, in the first 20 minutes of every film, the dramatic question gets posed. What is the person in the film going to do? What are they going to accomplish? Will they be able to do it by the end of the movie? Now, we don't necessarily have a dramatic question for ISES, but what we do have is a set of goals that we're trying to work towards. And everybody in this audience, whether you're a volunteer or not, or you're interested in ISES or not, you're an officer in the local chapter or not, should all know this dramatic question, this vision that we've got. Now, you can go right on the website and check it out. Thriving events industry is what we are trying to end up with. If that is our end goal, everything we do on an international level or as a chapter tries to make that happen. What does a thriving events industry look like? Well, we hope that it is incredibly sustainable financially. We want our clients and our customers to understand and respect the work that we do and truly value it. We want everybody to know each other in the community. We want to have a working set of standards that exists. These are the things that are part of any thriving industry. And of course, we want the event industry to be no different. Now, the things we've said to ourselves that we need to provide: education and professional development, a highly collaborative group of practitioners, people that work with each other, and groups that work with each other within our entire industry. Certainly the notion of being inspired or being inspiring throughout is one thing that it's something that we feel is just a must for our industry, and so why not add it to our daily lives? And of course, a big item that often gets overlooked, and in the days of diminishing budgets, something we haven't been able to attack has been outward awareness. So marketing campaigns that push events, live events, the experiential industry out there in front of clients, future clients, the governments, so that everybody knows the importance of what we are. Now, does that mean that ISES has to do all of that? Absolutely not. In fact, ISES really should play a role of what is the market, the private market, producing on its own, and what do we need to do to fill in the rest? See, the private market has things like trade shows. The private market has things like conferences. Other associations have other products as well. So oftentimes in ISES we feel we have to do everything. But to get to a thriving events industry, really all we have to do is provide what the marketplace is not providing. And so I want you to take a good strong look at what are the products and elements that are out there, that are outside of your world, and realize those are the types of things that you can provide. So be it standardization of the industry, be it certain types of education, be it certain types of networking. These are the things we want you to identify and provide. And this is what we're trying to do on an international level with all the international products that we have. In the end, everything you do should work towards a thriving events industry. Let's talk about what's new. As I just previously mentioned, one of the things that has been always put on the back burner has been this notion of getting the word out about ISES. And so about 2 years ago, we made a concerted effort, big decision to say we're going to invest. Investment is going to be something that we do in outward marketing. Well, the very first thing that has to happen is all of us internally have to know what the marketing is. And so with our partner, our marketing partner, Davies Tanner, we developed the ISES brand story. Well, now phase 2 of that, so phase 1 was getting all the chapters to know what that brand story is. Phase 2 is now saying to ourselves, how do we take that and push it out into a marketplace where not only do people want to know how we're different from every other association, but our end clients, the people that we want buying, in the end, that's really what we want. We focus so much on associations and members and getting more members and competing against other associations. Really, all of us, all of the associations and all the memberships should just be working towards that one thing of outward awareness. Our goal in the end is to get more people spending money on live events, whether this association gets that to happen or that association gets that to happen. As long as it's happening, we are happy. So you're going to start to see in the next year or two a great push for outward marketing that doesn't relate to getting members. It relates to spending money on events. The other thing that we've decided that we're going to do is we're going to start looking at new partnership models. And this is between ISES and products that exist out in the industry. So if that means partnering with new trade shows, if that means financial partnerships, our goal is to start branching out beyond the typical. So you're going to see ISES involved in a lot of other private marketplace elements that occur, and you're going to start to seeing us partner with other private entities that are going to allow us to build our exposure and build our financial base. These are two things that we, again, feel we've been lacking, but we've now put a task force together to actually identify, reach out, and make these things happen. And this is not for one-off events. These are long-term partnerships that we're looking to exist throughout the course of a year. Now, I use the word partnership, and certainly collaboration comes into play with partnership. And one of the biggest things you're going to start seeing is a stronger, more close collaboration with an association who occupies a very similar space that we do, the National Association of Catering Executives. You're all familiar with NACE. And the leadership of NACE and ISES have really said to themselves, there's very little reason for us to be tripping over each other, competing with each other. We're all after the same goal, and we can all help with some bigger term projects that we need, and then we can sit and specify the very differentiators which make us slightly different, but not that different. So we can work on advocacy, and we can work on marketing, and we can work on standards together. And then when things like education for very specific elements needs to occur, we can get specific there too. So some exciting things are going to start to happen in that world, and we look forward to building that collaboration with any other association that's out there, not just NACE. If you know of any, let us know. We'd love to start building collaboration together. And the last thing I'll say of what's new, well, we've just spent quite a few hours at one of the newest trade shows in the US, IMEX, and there we discussed the notion of member value. And we realized the model needs to evolve, the model needs to change. And so we are working hard and fast on the notion of what can we provide our people, our members, that gives them a stronger value for what they're investing in. Obviously, we believe everyone needs to make an investment in the community just to make the community stronger. But there needs to be a greater ROI for membership if we're to even remain in any way, shape, or form pertinent in the world that we exist. So member value for our association is being worked on, and we hope to start seeing results by the end of the year. So that's a little bit about what's new. You're watching this movie and suddenly there's a great big plot twist and everything shifts direction. People ask me always, so what direction are you taking us in? Where are we going in your year? And so I'll always say to people who ask me that question, it's not about this year. In fact, our leadership is built and designed on a continuum where we're making decisions and they're constantly being rolled out. But I will say this, where the board has been going in the last few years, one of the things that we want to be able to do is to be able to act, make decisions, and change direction faster than we have been. So if this means things like small beta testing when we can instead of major rollouts, if this is doing focus groups on elements within certain subgroups of people who are in our industry to find out, does this work or not? Our goal is to make sure that when we make decisions, they can be done fast, quick, and change. We're not a giant organization, so it shouldn't take us years to make things happen. So implementing things at the speed of business is where we're trying to get to. Another thing that we really want to put an emphasis on is being data-driven. See, in my last president's message, I told everybody, well, data is so easy to get these days. You just need a good system, but the technology is there to get it cheaply and effectively. So we're going to start being far more data collectors and analyzers than ever before. And this, we think, is going to make us strategically far more powerful when we decide to implement something new or change direction. There's also this notion of being very, very strategic in our thoughts. When we look at something, we don't want to be 1 year, look at it, next year, look at it again, next year, look at it again. Our goal absolutely is to make sure that the strategy is laid out over multiple years and we're testing the results to see whether we've gotten from point A and whether point B, the end result, is actually worth it. We're there and we're making it happen. So the final element in that is to make sure we are branching out far more than we ever have. We've been in our own world for so long, and most associations are the same way. And so our goal is to be far more collaborative, to be exchanging ideas, to be talking to other groups about those ideas, whether they're within the industry or not. And so collaboration is, again, one of the directions that we want to be in, not just for a year, not just what you're going to see from 2014, 2015, but from this point forward. And we're very, very excited about that direction. Let's talk about great dramas in cinematic history. Well, every great drama seems to have an evil villain and tied into the subplot somewhere in the film. This year is no different for the International Special Events Society, which tends to be a drama quite often. Through no fault of our own, we managed to have a similar sounding acronym to another organization that, well, really is the antithesis of our society. So, ISES. A lot of people have had a very strong reaction to this. I say a lot of people, more than 3 or 4. We get questions, we get snickers, we get really both people in the marketplace and people not in the marketplace. And everyone asks, well, what's the reaction going to be? Here's the first thing I'm going to say about the reaction. The reaction is not going to be based on fear. It's not going to be based on worry, and it's certainly not going to be based on this is what I have heard. The Society has spent, the International Special Events Society has spent 28 years building its brand. This group that has come up, ISIS, in English, that is its acronym. In Arabic, it's an entirely different acronym. But ISIS has actually been named 3 other things before it became newsworthy. It's actually starting to have other names as well as we move forward. Our own federal government calls it ISIL. News organizations are starting to call it IS, or the Islamic State. The French government and others in Europe are starting to call it Daesh. One way or another, there seems to be this similarity. But what we're trying to do is not break 28 years of brand building for something that may in a year go away. I just want to let everybody know we are 100% staying on top of this from an international level, and realize that there are throughout the world entire regions where ISIS is a brand. So this is not a simple fix to say, can we just change a name? We actually have far more to lose by changing something that was built over 28 years than we do simply waiting out and seeing where does this play. So what do we know? Well, we know there's a terrorist group, and its English acronym is ISIS. Sometimes it's just IS, sometimes it's ISIL. It changes often. We do know that they're going through a terror campaign. We do know that that acronym is recognized by a lot of people. What we don't know is how long they're going to be around for, how long their name is going to exist. So in our world of looking at data, other things we don't know, how many people have actually not become a member simply because of a slight association with the name. Now I say a slight association. ISIS versus ISES. Can people tell the difference? I think they can. The other thing to remember here is we are not ISIS. We are the International Special Events Society. Just take that into consideration. Anytime you're talking to anybody who might be a potential member, potential partner, we are not necessarily ISIS, nor should you open a conversation saying that. We are the International Special Events Society. Other groups are specifically ISIS, ISIS Pharmaceuticals. They're not an acronym, that's their name. They're not changing their name. They've been around for 25 years, and they realize that their brand is very, very strong in their marketplace. And no one in their marketplace is ever going to mistake them for a terrorist organization. And they're an actual business. See, we're just an association, a community. We're not relying upon day-to-day profit coming in off of business. So the worry that's out there and the impact that it's going to be, we don't want to make sure we're reacting to anecdote. Somebody said something. Well, that's one person or two people. If we are studying the right data and we start getting great feedback on the fact that tens of hundreds of people are dropping off the roster because of the name, or people are not going to partner with us because our acronym is ISES versus ISIS, we might take a different stance. But right now we don't see that as being the case. We are staying the course because within our marketplace everyone realizes who we are and what we stand for. So for you, what can you do? What can you do to make sure things don't seem odd or awkward and you're not scared? Well, the very first thing you can do is stop relying on saying the word ISIS. That's the easiest fix in the world, because if you said the International Special Events Society every time you mention it, there would never be a problem. The second thing is should it come up, one of the best things you can do is to be somewhat lighthearted about it. See, I just brought up the same issue at IMEX, which is within our industry, and everybody happened to laugh. They got it, they understood it, they realized it's not a great situation to be in, but it's not the end of the world. And the last thing you can do about the ISIS concern is be very confident. See, it's fear and uncertainty that makes other people fearful and uncertain. And so the best thing you do is have confidence in your brand, have confidence in what you stand for, and have confidence knowing that on this earth, our version of ISIS is wholeheartedly just seen in a greater light than the other one is. I have absolutely no issue with being considered a leader of ISIS, knowing which ISIS I'm a leader of. So what does the future hold? The future of associations. Where are we going with them? Are they even relevant? Well, I ask you this question, is business relevant? See, business changes, it evolves over time, and yet it still needs to exist. Associations need to exist because communities need to exist. The model might need to change, but the notion of having a group that is there, that is bonded to each other, that is looking out for the interests of its participating members, well, that's the greatest kind of community you could have. It means what you do for a living is important enough to protect it, to improve it, to strengthen it, and to make it more meaningful. So associations will have to, if they want to remain relevant, will have to evolve in some way. The products that it put forth might have to evolve and change, might have to get better. Right now we say we network, right now we say we provide education. Well, people can get those things for free in certain places. So what we have to offer may have to change as saying you're a member of. The notion of membership may have to change and evolve. How people buy things, how you're buying that membership. Well, maybe it's not a membership and maybe it's not the course of a year and you renew every year, but perhaps it's a cycle of support that you show. These things we're all talking about. These things are the things that we discuss. These are the things on an international level we talk about, but those of us on the international leadership level, we're the same as you. So where is your discussion? You know, I put forth in one of my first presidential messages, we want to hear from you on the forum. The future of associations, it's not an esoteric topic. We can all talk about it. We can all put forth our ideas of what community is. So we look forward to hearing from you on what the future is. You are part of ISES so that you can mold the future of this. So start molding. That molding can be who is a part must change. It might not just be the events industry. It might be bigger. It might be smaller. And certainly what we accomplish as an association has to accelerate. The speed of everything else has gotten bigger, faster, and so we need to be accomplishing the same things at the same rate. If we're not, we're going to become highly irrelevant. So here's the final bit. Here's the big finish. Here's the denouement, if you will. Someone has asked me, why would somebody stay with ISES? Why should they? Why couldn't they just do what they're doing on their own? Why invest? Why not jump to another association? It's the big dramatic question. And it gets answered in the last 20 minutes of the film. Now, I'm not going to try and make some kind of big pitch here to say, oh my goodness, please, please be a part of ISES. First of all, if anyone's a part of any association within the experiential industry, that's good for all of us. So I'm not worried necessarily about saying, gotta keep members. But we need people involved. No involvement is the worst thing that could happen to our community. So for those people who are undecided whether or not to be involved, I'll ask you a few questions. Would you love a career that has great or deep respect for what it accomplishes? A career with great, sizable financial reward in it? A place where you can find work more inspiring and have a lifetime of support from the people around you who do what you do? Does this sound like a career that you'd want? Well, this is what ISES does. This is the impact that ISES is attempting to have. It has a small impact if a small amount of people are involved. And it has an incredibly large impact if a large number of people are involved. See, this notion of we're all in this together sounds a lot better than everybody's on their own. And so I just simply ask the question, doesn't community bring a greater career, an industry that is thriving? So I can say here, ISES is not a for-profit organization. It's not a tit-for-tat thing. There are tangibles you might get out of ISES, but there's a huge intangible that's very hard to measure. See, you have to give. You have to give to your own community in some way. There have to be many hands lifting for us to rise as high as we can. And so this is a very, very simple concept. The issue is making people understand this. ISES, the International Special Event Society, is a tool. It's a tool for you to use. It's a tool for you to use to make your industry, to shape it any way you want to. So it's a choice. Would you rather be just swept along by the things that occur, or do you want to proactively make things the way you want them to be? And that is the question I would pose here at the end to say, ladies and gentlemen, why ISES? Why be here? Well, that is it. If you just want to hang out, if you just want to do what you do every day, if it's just a gig for you, don't join. But I would also say don't expect much either in the way of change, in the way of greater respect. higher salaries, greater inspiration, and certainly stronger community. So, as a big finish to you there in Denver, in Mile High City, the new home to America's team now, I say this: make your community strong, get the message out, and really, really try and impress upon people the strength of community. You have a great community there in Denver. There's no reason why this can't be stronger, more global, more inspiring, more collaborative. And so I look forward to it. It's going to be a great year. It's going to be a great number of years, and hopefully it's never going to have an ending the way all great films do. It's just going to keep going on and on.